up, you guys? It's King. Today I'm going to teach you how to draw realistic looking eyes. Now the first thing I do is draw a circle. This one is going to be the outside of the iris. And in the center of the circle is going to be another circle about 1/3 the size of the first. That will be the pupil. Next is the top eyelid, which comes out to about here. Make sure to touch and or cut off a bit of the iris depending on the look that you're going for. While the bottom eyelid is normally just out of reach, the top eyelid swoops down within a small distance from the bottom lid, about the same size as the pupil. The two lines meet up in the bottom corner of the eye, similar to how I did it here, which is a bit hard to explain. Next is the crease above the eyelid and the brow line. They are roughly parallel. I take the time to sketch out the lines in the eye that all point out towards the pupil. At this stage, it's optional because I'll be going over them in full later, but you're always free to follow me here. After that, create a purposely crooked line that is parallel to the outer iris, followed by adding more lines in the iris that are connected to the outer iris, some thicker than others. The next thing to do is to recreate the webbing-like waves and dips in the iris. An easy way to do that is to start from any one of the previous lines you made in the iris and make lines to a different point in another line, moving around the pupil as you go. Making sure you don't actually touch the pupil here, keeping all the lines light. From here, darken the section of the outer iris that you've made. Next, because the pupil isn't exactly a perfect circle, the way to draw it realistically is to make very small lines come from it in every direction. Then to fill it in. If you wish, you can leave a small section of the pupil blank to act as a highlighted area. Keep in mind that the highlight areas in someone's eye often appear to be surrounded by the darkest areas of the eye. Now, to make things easier in the next step, start from the outer iris, shading inwards, following the lines you've already made, making them a bit darker, but stop wherever you've made your webbing lines. At the top of the eye is the only exception to this rule, because the shadow casted by the eyelid and eyelashes cover the area. Continuing on from the pupil outward, do the exact same thing, stopping where you drew your webbing. Make the lines slightly darker, closer to the pupil, then lighter as they reach the webbed lines you made earlier. And for the highlight on the iris, you can leave a curved area near the top of the eye empty like what I did here. Next, you're going to need either a kneaded eraser molded to a point or a very precise eraser, and you're going to actually erase the webbed line that you drew. From there, directly beneath the line that you've erased, shade an area that forms a gradient from the pupil outward. I'm lightly working it in now, but I'll go back over it to darken it. Right after that, shade the opposite end of this line in order to fully bring out the contrast in this pattern. Right here, I'm just adding a few more lines to the iris to bring out more of the lighter areas with contrast. Now that we're finished with the actual eye, we're going to work outwards in order to carefully avoid smudging any details. Next is the white area around the eye, which is mainly darker in the area directly under the eyelid, as well as along the bottom eyelid and the corner of the eye. At this point, it would be best to darken the line of the eyelid and work on the area in the inner corner of the eye. To describe this area is kind of like two egg shapes, one smaller than the other. Create a line about half a millimeter beneath the bottom of the eyelid that runs parallel to it. From there, I'll be working on the upper eyelid. Shade a curved gradient like I'm showing here that goes from beneath the crease to the edge of the eyelid, leaving a small area at the bottom of the gradient for a highlight. Create another shaded gradient like you just did that ends under the inner corner of the eye, leaving a highlighted area directly under the line of the eyelid. Then, draw a fairly dark line that runs shortly below the bottom eyelid to appear as a crease, like this. The last things are the eyelashes. The way that they rest on the eyelid is similar to this. The bottom eyelashes are more random, but make sure that they're curved downward. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this tutorial, let me know in the comments. Give me suggestions in the comments for what I should draw next, and remember this, no matter what, keep drawing. You'll never know when you might need to draw something. Kyng out.